Welcome to the Light of Sirio podcast. My name is Dori Fari and I will speak with a realized spiritual master about his views on life and the topic of spirituality.
Savan Kirpalu Ajaib Tera Sahara Mera sharan Tu mera prema Savan Kirpal.
Here we are again, having a brand new episode of our podcast in the series of questions and answers. We had a period of interruption for some reasons, but we didn't abandon bringing new episodes to you, replying to your questions. So here is with me Master Sirio, with great patience and receiving all the questions arriving. Welcome, dear Master.
Thank you.
Since we have till the season of questions and answers, this is the 7th episode, because we just continue where we left. We have a question which I just picked this morning from many questions. It seems to me like more women are receptive and open to and interested in spirituality than men. But it also seems like there are more male spiritual teachers, gurus, masters than female ones. Why is this? So we jumped into the middle right away. So dear Master, the question here too, that is it like this? Do you agree with this statement that it seems like more women are receptive to spirituality and interested in spirituality?
If you look back in history, in any religious tradition and spiritual tradition, up to now at least, up to this historical moment, most of the masters, most of the holy people, saints, and even philosophers, I can say, they've been males. We can say that because of culture and limits which were imposed on women up to this point in history, there might have been an impediment for women to be able to achieve certain roles, but also before the role comes the realization. First, you realize something, and then you teach that something. How do you realize that something? By doing a very intense spiritual practice. Most of the women in general, up to this historical time, they have been always very busy with family. Children, having so many children, being busy with the family, growing up their kids. Consequently, they were more limited in their possibility. Because in order to realize something very elevated spiritually, you have to do a very intense spiritual practice. You don't realize something so high, you don't reach such kind unless you do a very intense spiritual practice. And for most of the women, this, up to now at least, has been a limitation, has been impossible. Therefore, yes, they might, in all traditions, if you go to any celebration, if you go to any religious ceremony, you may find more women than men, because men busy with work, and maybe ladies finding the way anyway to go to attend a ceremony, a ritual, something. But coming to the actual spiritual realization, then those males who have been interested in achieving something and wanting to realize God, wanting to realize truth, there have been more men capable of achieving this goal. Therefore, you can find that, yes, most of the masters have been males up to now. Then it depends also on the religious tradition. Let's say which form of God they prefer to worship, if it is a female form or if it is a male form. Therefore, in those religions in which the female form of God has been prevalent, there have been more women capable of achieving something very elevated. But in those traditions in which, and most of the traditions anyway, the form, the face, character that they give to God, it's a male. Especially in the monotheistic religions, like Jewish, Islam, Christianity, God is a male. But then there is also, yes, this other side. Because anyway, there are many human beings that like to worship God as a mother, not as a father. In all traditions, there is maybe the main figure or character that they give to God as a male. But then there is also female. Also in Christianity, there is Jesus and there is this Mary, his mother. In the Islamic tradition is very much masculine. But there are also there some very prominent female figures. In Sufism, there are some ladies, saints, who have been very much worshipped and are still worshipped. But of course, mostly are men. In Hebraism, Judaism, also there are some female figures, but most of the holy people there also they are males. In Hindu tradition, there are many. In India, there are many holy women. So many in the Hindu tradition, because there the worship of the mother aspect of God is very prevalent. Therefore, there are many ladies who become very prominent figures, very much adored and worshipped by the crowds. But coming back to the present time, I can say that, yes, if you go to a yoga class, you find mostly women. This is also because women care much more about their well-being, about their fitness, wellness, and so on and so forth. Therefore, yoga is a way of keeping fit and fine, so ladies are more attracted to it. If you go to Satsang in India, there you can see very well how many women and how many men do attend, because they sit separately. So there is a line for the ladies and a line for the men. And you can see it's more or less the same. As many men, as many women, more or less. I've been in a satsang with Master Kirpal, and there it was like this. Ladies on one side, men on the other side. More or less they were the same number. With Sanji also, in his satsang, men were sitting on one side in India talking, and ladies on the other side. And more or less were the same. But when he came to the West, then we were sitting all together, men and females. And you could see that more or less were the same number. Also, at our retreats, we can say that more or less it's 50-50. Sometimes more men, sometimes more ladies, sometimes the same. So I think nowadays ladies have more of a possibility to practice and develop spiritually. But mind you, becoming a master, it doesn't mean that you choose a role and you perform it. First, you realize that role, and then you perform it. How do you realize it? You realize it by doing a very intense spiritual practice. So whether you're a man or you are a woman, in order to become a master, first you have to realize that level. You have to realize Satsang if you want to become a master. You have to have this experience very deep in your meditation, so many times in your life. Then you become a master. But I will go back a bit, because realizing Satsang and becoming a master is not the same thing. There may be a number of people who have this kind of experiencing, of experience complete realization of truth, but they don't become a master. Because to become a master, you have to have some added talents, some added qualities. There may be also in the Sangha of a master a number of people who achieve this state of union, but they don't become masters because they don't have that talent, they don't have that capacity of performing this role in an effective way. And as I said, anyway, there are paths which are more masculine, and I can say Sant Mat is very much this kind. In Sant Mat, you find most of the Sadgurus of this lineage have been masters. But nonetheless, there have been ladies who have been very extraordinary, maybe as realized as the master spiritually, but they didn't pick up this role because of social conditioning, because of limitations of some kind, because of circumstances, maybe because they were not brave enough to perform this role, maybe, because circumstances didn't come in their life, and because they were not chosen for this role. But myself, in the Sangha of Masi Kirpal and Sanji, I've come to know a number of ladies who were really wonderful ladies, very holy people, with a very high level of realization.
Well, but here now we talk about 20th century and 21st. I feel that we took a little bit large step over this thing that circumstances or possibilities. I think that before times, but even not so long ago, let's go back to the 19th century, which is not so long ago. Master Kirpal was born in the 19th century, so it's not so far away. Like our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, people with whom we could know, they were grandmothers, and if you talk about women, no? Grandmothers and great-grandmothers, they were born and living in the 19th century. So it's not a far away past. And life has radically changed, of course, and in all traditions it's possible, as you mentioned, there can be the Divine Mother, the Holy Mother, a holy woman. But I think before, for women, it was much more difficult also to follow a spiritual path. That maybe it was just so easy for them. That maybe if their husband wanted to go for satsang, they could go for satsang. Or it depended also, how to say, the family in which they got into, no? Just to give a small example, like studying at a university. There are ancient universities, very old universities, and men could study, but women no. But it's not because women were not the same intelligent, or many women are more intelligent than several men. So I mean, it's as you say that nowadays that you see equal part, that female and male, 50-50 more or less. And it's the same about certain potentials, studying, intelligence, intellect, the consciousness. It's the same potential for men and women. But you see, like, women couldn't go to university, and it became more of a reality for ladies, for women in the West. Talk about what we know more, or at least me, I know more from the 20th century, after the millennium. So that after 1900, that it became a phenomenon that ladies could go to university and study as men. And they could pick up a profession like become a doctor or something. Before they couldn't be, even if they were maybe, or they could have been capable. They had the talent, the knowledge, or whatever, but it was not contemplated. And if you just mention like the rights to vote, then if you just talk about Italy, in Italy, ladies can vote since 1945, which is not so long ago. Before they couldn't go for the election. I mean, something there was, but there are some countries in Europe where women could begin to have a full right to participate in the elections from the 60s, 70s. And now it's like a modern, new world also, when there are so much more possibilities for women. And I think this is also a good indicator that this person who sent the question that perceives like this, that there are more ladies interested, because it means that it's also more possible for women to step into this field as well, as not only studies, but also in the field of spirituality.
Yes. Now there are more possibilities for everybody. For ladies, especially, who have been conditioned for many centuries by several social and cultural factors. Now there are more possibilities to manifest their potential in several fields of life. You find ladies who are judges, barristers, doctors, presidents, prime ministers, everything. So ladies can do very well what men can do, but if the circumstances in life allow them to realize their full potential in any field in which they are interested.
Yes, that's true, but also that's true that we know, of course, not from every tradition, but even from ancient times, we know about some very great women who realized their divine potential and they are still respected and well known. Also in India, there are saints who are still very loved and respected. So in Europe, there are lots of saints, ladies.
Yes, in Italy, a lot of saints in the Christian tradition who are ladies. In India also, many, maybe not so famous, but some very famous like Mirabai, Sejabai, and so on and so forth. In Christianity also, Santa Caterina da Siena, Santa Chiara d'Assisi, Santa Teresa d'Avila.
So the key point in this, which you said, that not everybody becomes a master who does realize something higher, but it needs something added.
Yes.
That it needs
some talents,
some determination.
both for men and for women. The main thing is to be chosen by God as human Paul to manifest His grace, His wisdom, His teachings to the world. That's the main thing.
But if you really wanted to sum up the reply to the question, I don't know, looking around, well, yoga teachers, if you look at yoga teachers now, I know much more ladies yoga teacher than men. Actually, I know maybe only one man yoga teacher, but at least 10 or 12 women yoga teacher. But we don't talk here about yoga doing for yoga lessons, doing asanas, but we talk about on the level of spiritual teachers. And I'm thinking, I know about some ladies who perform the role of a spiritual teacher, master, guru, but I know much more men. So then this statement still is true, that there are more men teachers. So I see also in our retreats, if you look at the participants, more or less it's 50-50, men and women. I witness it, but still my perception is that there are more ladies interested. As you said, that if you look at a yoga lesson full of women, are women more receptive, according to you?
Yes, they are more receptive. Those experiences which you have in the beginning, it's a well-known fact. Many masters say this, that in the beginning, those experiences for beginners, ladies are more capable, more receptive, and they can do better than men.
But do you think that it still does depend nowadays on social situation of ladies?
No more, at least not even in India, I can say. But if you go to Afghanistan, where ladies are very limited in their possibilities, or in some other Islamic states where the Sharia is at work, there, yes, ladies are still very limited. But nobody impedes them anyway, even in Afghanistan, to do their meditation, to do their prayers, and to ascend spiritually. That I'm sure they can do. I know because people tell me about their experiences, both male and female. I can say that both of them have the possibility, have the potential to have very profound spiritual experiences. Because to me, there are ladies who tell me about their experiences and men. And I say more or less it's 50-50.
When you said that women are more receptive, so why? Women are more receptive.
They are more sensible, women. They are different than men. Men, they need a strong impact, a strong something in order to fall, let's say, into spirituality.
A big bang on the head.
But otherwise, they are kind of insensible. They don't feel. But for ladies, it's easier to have a spiritual perception, to have a spiritual feeling, to find themselves in a situation and feel kind of ecstatic. It happens easier with ladies than with men.
But why is this?
Because they are different, simply because they're made different. They have a sensibility, a receptivity which is different than for men.
But do you mean that women, they arrive incarnated in this world, that they stay more connected?
Not all of them. sorry, not all of them.
But that's what you mean.
Those who are interested in spirituality, those who become involved in a spiritual quest, for them, usually the initial experiences having visions, perceptions, it's easier for women.
Well, that's true also because then men, if you look at the body of a man and a woman, the men are taller, stronger, they have different muscles, they have more endurance. So it's just enough to look at...
Yes, and endurance in the spiritual path, in the spiritual quest is very important. Strength and capacity of persistence and persevere and going to very long, deep meditation retreats on your own or with your master or with the Sangat. That's something that most of the time ladies do not have.
But we said before that we have 50-50 participants, men and women.
Yes, participants attending Satsang and
coming for retreats. Now more women come than men. Also in the summer, more women are there than men.
Yes, it's changing. It's changing. So anything is possible. And the potential is there for both of them, but depends then who applies himself fully and gives his life or her life for this quest, for this realization. And above all, it's God's choosing his or her human pulse to perform this role. Master Kripa used to say, God is looking for a real human being everywhere. Very difficult to find one. But if he finds one, whether he's a male or a woman, he's very happy and wants to use that human being to perform his work in this world. But we must be tuned in and we must be competent, capable of doing it.
But then we also can say or mention here that we see on the path that we are not the doers. Everything is done by him.
Definitely.
Or her.
Definitely.
By the supreme power.
Yes, definitely. Definitely so.
When something is to be done, then the supreme power will create the situation and it will happen by any means.
Definitely. It's not our pretending or our wanting to assume this role. It's we have to be chosen. First of all, we have to be competent. We must have work for it, and then we may be chosen.
Well, it's like turning the thing into another question, but can it happen? The supreme power wants it like this, and this is the higher design. And then the person thinks, but I don't want. Then what happens?
It was very much with me like this. As I've been telling a number of times in Satsang, and I think also in this podcast, the very first time I meditated with Master Kripa, I had this revelation that this was my destiny, to become a master. But I always refused it. Even after Sanji left the body, for 5 or 6 years I refused to do it. I tried to, let's say, choose some person. I went to see some of these masters that were around, picking up this role or who had this role already. Understanding that if I see this person to be competent and capable from my point of view, from my understanding and from my level of realization, I would say, then I would be glad to send people to take initiation from this person. So I went to see a number of people before I pick up this role and I began giving initiation and giving satsang. But I must say, honestly, those people I met, I didn't feel and I didn't see them to be competent from my standpoint. Eventually, since my destiny was this, then it came very strongly from outside and from inside that now is the time that we begin doing this. So I began doing it. At the point I accepted, and since the time I accepted, I keep doing it, even if sometimes I honestly can say I get tired of doing it.
Came into my mind an example from the Bible. I don't know in English the name Jonas, or the one who had to do something for God and he didn't want. And he went to hide everywhere, and then eventually he went on a ship and set sail. And then came a storm. And eventually he ended up in the belly of a big fish.
I don't remember now the name.
In Hungarian it's Jonas, so I thought maybe it's Jonas or something like that. And very
Jonathan. So.
to think that he ended up in the belly of the big fish, but even there, God found him and made him do what he had to do.
That's right.
We are women or men or what we think or what we perceive or what are our ideas or opinions. Anyway, as we were talking about in the episode about free will, we come with a certain destiny into this world and we have to follow the program.
That's right. Definitely so.
Whether we like it or not, then we are going to realize that's what we have to do, because we will be made to realize what we have to realize.
Yes.
So it's best to try to understand and collaborate with the Supreme Will.
Yes. But yes, thankful that it's not our will and it is God's will. This is very important. It's a very, very important thing. It is not our will, because then we make a mess. But it is God's will. Then it works. It's okay. It's fine. The work is done in a wonderful way, because it's God that does the work and not we. You can see in the performance, in the way, the masters of these last 20, 30, 50 years. I say 50 years because now I am 73 and I've seen in these 50 years so many masters come on the scene, so many gurus picking up this role. So I can see who has done a very selfless, honest, pure, holy work for God, and who has done this kind of work half for God, half for himself or herself, because ladies also. So according to the level of dedication, of humble dedication for God's sake, according to his will. So according to that, we perform a selfless or a selfish work.
But what does it mean if we perform a selfish work? Because, okay, it's easy to understand selfless, but what does it mean then selfish?
Selfish, it means doing this work not in a clean, pure way, not in a selfless way, but very much for our ego, for our arrogance, for our pleasures, for our power, both monetary and of control over the people. There are so many ways, clean and unclean, selfless and selfish of doing this work. And I've seen quite a number of gurus doing a rather selfish work, use their power to control the mind and the body of the people and their world. So, according to this, you can see who is a selfless, very holy person, and a person who has acquired some power because of some experiences. But still, they are full of arrogance, full of ego, and full of thirst for power, economical, and on the mind of the people.
How is it that people follow such a person?
It's their destiny. They have to have that kind of experience in order to grow.
Well, I understand.
And understand life.
That people can be also misled. Like we had a series of interviews and accounts from people of Sanji, and we had the account of Loretta, how she was initiated by Sanji, but then how she was confused by a yoga teacher who was an initiate of Master Kirpal.
Yes, he was one of these kind of people. Thirst for power, thirst for sex, thirst for so many things. And also, was a small story. It was not such a big something. But we have seen, I don't want to make names, but we have seen so many big gurus having thousands and thousands of followers, thirst for Rolls Royce, money, sex, so on and so forth.
Also, there are some really recent ones which we heard. But it's just so strange for me that so really many people, crowds, do follow such a story, such a leader, it's even difficult to say spiritual teacher, but still, they have love, they have devotion, and they are many people, and they do, the people, the followers, the many of them, they are very honest in their quest.
Yes,
they do a daily spiritual practice, and then this is
they are much better
contradictory.
They are much better than their guru, but they don't realize it.
Yes, but how come?
How come? It's a phenomenon that happens.
Maybe is it also because we humans, we need to believe in something? Because, of course, very often, really often, this is, how to say, like, one of the key points, cornerstones of Sanmat and your teachings, to have your own first-hand experience. And as Master Kripa said, don't believe me until you didn't see with your eyes, or something like this. But still, we human beings, we have the tendency to need to believe in somebody or in something.
Everybody believes in something. People make singers as their god. They make people who do bodybuilding, fighters, so many kind of idols of so many different kinds. Then we go on the field of gurus and masters, and there also one can be very famous, but not very clean in his intentions and in his performance. You can see many singers so popular, so famous, but they are not good people at all. And also in the field of spirituality, there may be gurus who become very famous, but they are not very good people because they have some capacities of involving people, their special way of being, their special way of talking, their kind of philosophy. But this doesn't mean that these people have become holy people.
Mm-hmm.
Look at in politics also.
I didn't want to say.
Look
I was just thinking.
At the recent history, people have been able to carry crowds and pull them into doing incredible, cruel things. You can see from Hitler to Mussolini, you can see Netanyahu nowadays, and so many other great politicians who are presidents, and they believe to be the kings of the world, and as far as human qualities, they have none.
Yes, but politics, it's one thing, because then it's like a free option. One cannot be interested in politics or choose this or the other side. But when somebody goes to do spiritual practice, it's with the intention to improve your life, to realize your higher self, to do your devotion, to realize your divine self. And you go to a master, and then you are into a situation where, as you said, maybe the disciple are better people than the master, the guru. So contradictory that so much love, devotion, dedication, and sadhana is laid into the thing. And still, for them, it's a beautiful story, but then maybe it's rotten at the head.
Well, the intention by which you do something is so very important.
I mean, of course, it's not the fault of the people who go there, but still, how
their efforts and their work done in this direction, it is rewarded, definitely. Because their intentions were clean, honest, and true. It doesn't matter what the guru is. It's very much important, the intention that you put in anything you do.
But also, we believe in the story then. So, it seems that our belief, it's like putting the lenses, and we don't notice certain things which we kind of don't want to see, maybe. And what my question was about is that where is the border? No, because when we follow a master, then we should listen to the words of the master, we should obey to the words of the master. And of course, what does the master request you to do? Not to do your practice, do your bhajan, simran, and you do it. I mean, the master tells sometimes also very tough things in satsang, which might feel uncomfortable for us because of our little conditionings, because of our way of being. And sometimes people can think, I talk about banal things, not cheap things also, but to behave in a certain way. And maybe the master tells me something which makes me feel uncomfortable because I'm not okay with it in my private life. And then I might even judge the master, but we shouldn't judge the master, but we should bow our head. And because one should really love the master, as you say, that we should have a supreme love for the master to make the path work. Because as we also say, the path is the master and the master is the path. And so where is the border when people should notice or become aware of something is not okay? How is it?
First of all, before you follow master, you study the life of this master, see what he has done or she has done in his or her life, And if the realization that the master pretends for himself, it's a possibility according to the lifestyle of the person, then you follow the person. Once you really see that this person is a honest person, is a selfless person, and what he doesn't do it for his ego, for his arrogance, he does it in the service of God, then you follow the person and obey that person. But if you don't see these qualities in a person, don't just follow a person because this person has thousands of followers, because he has a very peculiar and charismatic way of putting things.
Mhm.
That's not enough. Let's say people may have a very strong charisma, but they are not clean people. Their intentions and their ways are not good.
And what about the first-hand direct spiritual experiences? What if somebody goes to master?
No,
I give you an example so that we understand better each other, because I'm thinking something and maybe I don't express myself well enough. Usually I don't like to put names because I don't know these people personally, and of course I can't have the full knowledge on the story, just what one hears. I was thinking about Ram Rahim. He was appointed by his master to carry on the mission, and he seemed to be a super talented, good young man, and many people followed him, also disciples of his master, so he was responsible for them. And then maybe you follow the master passed away, there is the new master, and it's decades maybe that you're on the path, and then you can't even know about that person, because somebody who has a large sangha, so much large fellowship, most of the people, I didn't think they have no idea what is happening in the inner circles.
yes, they get the benefit anyway, because their intentions are true and good, and they go to attend the satsang and attend anything which happens around this master, and they go with good intentions, so they get the benefit. The master, according to his intentions, his doings, he will get his reward, as in the case of Ram Rahim, who ended up in jail, and maybe he's still in jail, and he will be in jail maybe for the rest of his life. I must say, there have been people, gurus, who have been worse than Ram Rahim, and they didn't end up in jail.
Yes, it was just an example that came into my mind.
So now he is lucky because he began really going off the lane, off road, and anyway, now he ended up in jail. So he was blocked from going farther in his wrongdoings.
So maybe he doesn't feel like this, but God has a great love for him because blocked him from the bad.
But I'm sure many of his followers still love him very much, because anyway, beside being so arrogant, so yeah, that's a test for power really, in his case, for prominence and
Self-importance.
Beside this anyway, he was a very talented person, and he also did very good things, and especially his Sangat had done very good things for many very difficult situations in India.
So maybe,
helping in many difficult situations.
Maybe this is it's just my philosophizing, but maybe this is the thing which saved him actually, because then due to his performing, lots of good came out in that corner of the world. So maybe God put on the scale, on the two sides of the scale, and said, okay, you did also good, then I don't let you to go too much on the bad anymore. No, I mean, what about a situation like this, that when one finds oneself in a difficulty like this, in a situation like this, and as you said, that many followers, then they keep loving the master because he also gave lots of good to them. But then turns out that eventually he wasn't able to maintain to be that good person that he is supposed to be. What happens to people then? I think it's a really great crisis. It's a real disgrace.
It's a big crisis, and it's a big test for his followers, her followers, according to what the person is. And sure, they learn a big lesson by going through a situation like this. And those who are sincere and honest, they will get out the best, even from such a difficult situation, from such a difficult test.
So as a conclusion, we can say that no matter if the person is a man or a woman, and a master or a seeker, then we can conclude that, the path is a narrow path, and one has to be very attentive because it's easy to fall, even for a master, for a guru, and one has to be very honest and truthful, always sincere.
Honest, above.
So many questions came out from this one, and thank you, dear Master, for replying all of them. Next episode is going to come after 2 weeks. So those who follow us, I would like to let you know that on the 12th of October, there is going to be a live satsang with Master Sirio that you can watch and enjoy through YouTube. And please don't miss to follow and subscribe our channels on Spotify, YouTube, or any other channel where you listen to it. Don't forget that we have the Daily Guidance Meditation podcast, in which we never made an interruption, so you can enjoy daily a new episode. What has to say, very important, that at the end of the month we are going to have the autumn meditation retreat in Master Sirio and the Sangha Ashram. So anybody who would like to attend, please find more information on the siriosatsang.com website, which anyway I advise you to visit because you can find lots of information and interesting things there, such as the Sirius magazine. As I said, next episode comes after 2 weeks, and thank you again, dear Master, for being here with us.
It's my pleasure.
Then we can now listen to our mantra. So, God bless you all.
Savan Kirpal Ajaib Tera Sahara Tera Sahara Mera Sharan Mera Sharan Tum Mera Prema Savan Kirpal Ajaib Tera Sahara Tera Sahara Mera Sharan Mera Sharan Tum Mera Prema Tum Mera Prema